Okay, so are we live? Are we? Wow, it really does look like it's the morning for me. I did wash my face. I did moisturize. Um, there's also stuff going on outside. There's like kids playing. My grandma's like doing stuff. I'm just in my car, in my driveway, again. Hello. And I wanted to have a talk, especially with the black people. I mean, to be honest, every race needs to be present for this talk because as black people, like, we've been doing some fuck shit with ourselves, like within our own community. And it's getting to the point now where we're arguing that other people are dumb over things that we're doing that are also dumb, that literally mirror what they're doing. Like, do you see where the idiocy is coming in? So, I think it was like G Herbo was on the timeline talking about some. I saw G Herbo on my Twitter timeline talking about Kanye's comment about slavery's a choice. Da da da. All right, everyone wants to believe that slavery wasn't a choice until it comes to slavery against iPhones. Like, oh, you're enslaved. Oh, your family's enslaved because you feel you need to have the latest thing. Oh, you need to have the latest thing. You need to have the latest thing. You need to have the latest thing. Like, you need to have the latest. Um, that is a form of mental enslavement. Like, you realize that, right? Addiction is also a form of mental enslavement. Race wars are also a form of way of being able to wow, not being able to. Race wars can also bring about a form of mental slavery. I'm sorry, I just woke up not long ago, so that's why my words are still jumbled. But it just blows my mind where people can be like, "Oh, the what threw me off this morning was I was looking at Twitter and people were talking about some, oh, this is that overly simplistic ass slave master rhetoric. And then people took it a step further and were like, "Oh, black people, y'all aren't resilient. Y'all talking about your ancestors. You guys aren't resilient. You guys aren't made to. You aren't built for that. You aren't built for that. You aren't um bitch. The fuck? Would we have the highest incarceration rate in the world, especially of black men, if they were not resilient enough to do some shit? That's why they keep us confused. Like, are you stupid? Are you dumb? Like, that's why they keep us confused. That's why they keep us in states of divisiveness. That's why they keep us divided. That is why they keep us divided. That is why listen, with a statement that Kanye West said, the problem isn't with just what Kanye said, because Kanye said what he said. It can be taken a few different ways. The problem is the way that black people internalize that statement, saying, "Oh, well, your slaves weren't your ancestors weren't shit." Nobody said that. You thought that internally because you feel like you're not shit for not being able to stand up in this day and age, which is, when we're talking about mental slavery, all of us are mentally enslaved. Look at the United States. Look at the United States. Just the United States. We don't have to look at other countries. We don't even have to talk about other countries, other cultures, anything. Look at this country. This country. This one. This one that we're living in right now. I'm in Connecticut in the United States. This country, okay? If we look at, let's say, for example, let's bring up one topic, and we can take it far left, and then we can go even further. Gang violence. Do you think that everybody that joins a gang to be cool, or do you think that they join it as a form of survival? Because if you don't join this one gang, and then your friends are part of that gang, and then other people see that you're hanging out with those people, they're gonna come at you thinking you're a part of that gang, when in reality you had nothing to do with the shit. So you may join just out of pure survival. So now you're involved in some shit you don't want to be involved in because you're trying to survive. Is that not similar to the slaves who were involved in some shit they didn't want to be involved in to survive? I mean, if we're gonna oversimplify it and we're gonna break it down, we're gonna break down all the similarities. Like, we are mirroring in certain ways the previous generations before us. But the issue that we have now is that we're so divided that we truly believe. I really believe that black people think that they really need to struggle. I truly believe that black people think that struggle is their birthright. That it's their birthright. Like, you have to struggle, and then once you go through struggling, just, if you struggle a little harder, you struggle a little harder, you struggle a little harder. No, you Do you not realize that part of the struggle is not listening to yourself, not listening to the people around you who actually have your best interest at heart? Did you ever take the time to stop and think for a second and say, wait a minute, maybe I don't have to struggle and struggle and struggle and struggle. Like, we sound stupid when we do that. We really sound stupid. We sound like fucking idiots. Like, look at any white person. Like, I have white coworkers, at all my jobs. I have white friends, da da da. But I never hear my white coworkers talk the way that I hear black people talk. And these are the people, like, mind you, when I'm talking about this, I mean in every aspect. When we're going from health care, when we're going from socioeconomic status. And now this is not to say all people, because not all black people are struggling. Not all black people identify with the struggle mentality. Not all black people identify with struggle mindset. There are some black people who will, you tell them, how much did you have to struggle? They'll look at you like you're just fucking stupid. Like, no, it was a struggle. It was hard work. It was dedication. It was tenacity. It was my dream. It was my mission. This is what brought me through. It was holding on to my dream and my mission and working towards it. It wasn't struggling. I wasn't laid up with my neck under somebody's boot for 10 years to get to where I was supposed to be. But there are other black people who will tell you they laid up under somebody with their neck under somebody's boot for 10 years, and that's how they got to where they were. But at the end of the day, it's overly simplistic to think that as black people now would not be able to deal with the civil rights movement or to deal with we are. Listen, if we're going to make these points, let's try to sound intelligent, because while you're trying to sound elitist, which is elitist, saying that, if you had actually read a history book or read these accounts of these people that you're talking about, okay, but you can read a history book and read the accounts of those people that are saying that, and you can't see the similarities between this generation and that generation when it's clear as day. There's a quote that says, those who do not learn from history are doomed to repeat it. And as black people, it looks like we're about to repeat this shit because we're dumb as dog shit. And it's not to say that we are actually dumb as dog shit. It's like we're acting like we're dumb as dog shit. Have some fucking intelligence. And intelligence is not just what you learn in a book. It's not your vocabulary. It's not just book smart. It's not just street smart. It is the accumulation. It's the culmination of all of those things. It's the culmination of all of that. To be intelligent, you have to be able to take different perspectives. Different. Like, not just yours, not just what a book says, not just what your history teacher said, not just what your grandmother said. No, you have to be able to take all of that. Like, what are the leaders, like, let's throw out the leaders, because the leaders aren't even speaking for us anymore. That's the place that we have gotten ourselves to as black people. We don't know what we want. What do you want? As a black person, what do you want? What do you want? I know it looks like I'm not even looking at the camera because, like, it's like all angled weird. Orientation is locked, rotate device back. Anyway, but it's all angled weird. But, like, as black people, what do you want? Like, for black people. Like, how are you taking steps in order to make sure that that's actually coming about? Like, there are people who are working their ass off to do these things, and a lot of them are not arguing back and forth about what Kanye said or what G Herbo said or this, that, and the third. And the people who are, listen, your priorities are not in the right place. Don't tell these people that they can't speak because you don't understand you don't know how to interpret, how to take what they said and put an intellectual spin on it. Because at the end of the day, you could talk shit about Kanye, about G Herbo, all these people, all you want, but at the end of the day, they're starting a conversation that you have not been able to start. So humble yourself. It doesn't matter how many accreditations you received. It doesn't matter how many degrees you had. It doesn't matter how many years of volunteer work that you've done. There is a point where we as people have to, it's not a choice at this point. We have to set aside our differences, set aside our egos, and come together under what was it? My friend sent me a video. It was Angela Rye was talking about what Kanye said. And I didn't really agree with everything that she said just because, like, at the end of the day, Kanye is Kanye. He's going to say what he's going to say. And that's really what that is. Like, that's really what that is. Like, he's going to say what he has to say. And as a person who does not have more reach than Kanye West, it would behoove you. It would behoove you to, instead of saying, oh, he just shouldn't talk. Go up to the man and have a conversation with this man. Stop making jabs at people that you don't even fucking know, and go up to them and have a conversation with them as to how we can create change. If somebody, listen, I made the example the other day. If you got a room full of people, listen, it's you and a bunch of your fucking friends. Let's say you got one Haitian nigga in the back, and he speaks Creole like it's his fucking job. He speaks English, but he also speaks Creole. And you got one French person in the room that just walked in, and they are the ones who are going to give you what it is that you want, or they're the ones who you need to talk to in order to get further, or get whatever it is that you need. Like, there's something that you need, and they are the access to it. You're not going to send all the other 9 people who speak English to go to speak to this person who only speaks French. I'm sorry. Granted, they have similar roots, but they are not the same language. They are not going to be able to understand everything that you're saying. But if you get somebody who speaks Creole in there, listen, that's a more similar language. Granted, English has a lot of its roots in Latin. French also has a lot of roots in Latin. But that does not mean that as an English speaker, you can go to a French speaker and understand every word. Like, je pense, like, if somebody says je pense, like, what does that mean? But a Haitian will know what that means. So are you going to go thinking that just because that you have all these degrees in English that you can go and speak to this French speaker? Or are you going to let the person who speaks Creole go and talk to them? Because they would be able to get through. They have more reach than you. It doesn't matter your education level. Stop getting in your ego thinking that just because you educated yourself that you have a one up over anybody. You don't. That's the real kicker. Be mad, but calm down at a certain point and get out of your ego, because you don't have a leg up over anybody. As a black person, you don't have a leg up over anybody. I'm sorry. Like, your education, it only goes so far if you can't apply your education. And even still, what your education should teach you is the similarities between generational struggles. Do you understand? This is why I don't like to debate with people, because I understand my own intelligence. I understand perspective. So we can look at the Greek or the Holy Roman Empire. We can look at empires, the Mayan civilization. We can look at empires spanning the last 1,000, 2,000 years. And you're going to start to see similarities in the breakdowns of every single empire as what's going on in this country right now. I don't need 17 degrees to tell me that. I don't. Because I'm intelligent. I don't need a degree to tell me I'm intelligent. You don't need a degree to tell you that you're intelligent. So stop thinking that just because you have this degree and you've read this book, you've done this, you've read this, that you are more intelligent or more capable of having certain conversations than people who can just see certain things are not right and say something. Those are the people you need to work with. Those are the people to work with. I don't give a fuck. Get out of your ego. You need them. They need you. Work with them. Work with them. Work with them. Work. Like, work together. Work together. We need to come together as a people, because what we're doing right now, this divisiveness, that is what, listen, you talk about, if you want to talk about, what was it? Was it Jimmy Lynch? Was it Lynch? Whatever. I remember his last name was Lynch. I just don't remember the first name because, again, it's not important. Why would I need to know the first name? It's not important. At the end of the day, the man said, you split up the black people by skin color, you will have them for centuries. We're still here talking about light skin versus dark skin. If you're going to debate anything, talk about that. Talk about the fact that we as black people, we have some of these same, like, there are some issues that our ancestors, they fought their asses off. Granted, I'm not saying that, I'm not saying one way or another that, I'm not saying anything one way or another other than the fact that people fought, people died trying to push us further. And we are mentally holding ourselves further back Are you serious? It's not even physically. Physically, when it comes to modern day slavery, i.e. the prisons, the prison systems, all these things, like, we can get into, we could talk for years about that. But at the end of the day, we already know that they're taking black and brown bodies and doing hard labor with them, manufacturing things with that. So don't tell me that black people are not strong, or black people only want to buy this, that, and the third. Black people are distracted. They don't even know what they fucking want. They're wallowing in seas of fucking depression and drug abuse. Not, and I'm not just talking about like, oh, crack, heroin. No, even listen, you can take anything and abuse it. Anything that is foreign to your body, anything that you put inside of your body in an amount that is not healthy for you, could be considered as drug abuse. So if you are in college and you sit and you drink 6 cups of coffee a day, that is drug abuse, okay? If you, listen, I've done it before too. There was one finals week where I slept 6 hours that whole week, and I might have drank half of my body weight in caffeine. That's drug abuse. That is drug abuse. That is. Caffeine is a drug. That's drug abuse. If you smoke, listen, if you're going through shit and you have to smoke 8 blunts to the face just to feel better, that's drug abuse. If you have to go and you gotta go, listen, even when it comes to drugs that are in your own body, like certain things, like we're not healthy. We're not, like we're so much more sensitive than we realize. And because of this sensitivity, we don't know what to do in a lot of these cases. Like, if you're like, I'll give myself for an example. Like, growing up in my house, there was a lot that my mother didn't tell me. We're Caribbean. Parents don't tell Caribbean children shit. So you just got to put together the pieces. But as a Pisces sun, Scorpio rising, I'm intuitive as fuck. I am intuitive as fuck. So if I walk into a room and my mother has just been through some shit, trust and believe I'm going to feel every single emotion that's running through her body right now. I just don't know why that is. I don't know what's going on. So if I walk in after school and I feel crazy, I'm thinking I'm depressed. No, I'm not depressed. I'm feeling what's going on and nobody's talking about it. Nobody's talking about what's going on. Let's start the conversation and talk about what's going on, and leave your ego at the fucking door. Nobody gives a fuck about your 7 degrees in anything. Nobody gives a fuck. Nobody. You're the only person who cares about your 17 degrees and what have you. All this is elitist talk to get us away from the real point. The real point is, as black people, there is a conversation that needs to be had. There is a conversation that needs to be had amongst us. And we're not having it because we're so focused on picking at each other, picking at this, picking at that. But you don't sound smart when you do that. You don't sound smart. You sound petty. You sound petty and childish as fuck. And petty and childish people were not at the civil rights movement. Granted, petty and childish people exist in you know what? I'm going to take that back. Because petty and childish people were part of the civil rights movement, but they knew that there was a time and a place for that. There is a time and a place to be petty and divisive. When it comes to our lives, when it comes to our safety, when it comes to our future generations, that is not that time. Do you understand? Like, it's not that time. It's not the time or the place for that. Like, at a certain point, as black people, as people who are black, who are brown, who are built up strong as ox, who are told from youth that we're dumb as dog shit, even though we're highly intelligent. Like, when we start breaking down what we know about black people, we see that the rhetoric that has been recurring for centuries is wrong. So why is it that when we start to understand our worth, we can't come together and understand our worth? We have to be separate with it. We have to say, well, you didn't read this or you didn't read this. Listen, it doesn't matter. Did they get the download? People get intuitive downloads. Like, when it comes to certain things, like there were certain things that I learned as a child. For as much of a voracious reader as I am, for as studied as I was at that time, there are things that I received as a download. Like, from God, from source. Like, you pray to God, you get an answer. You go and you meditate and you speak to the universe, you get a download. It's the same fucking thing. It's the same thing. When you get those downloads, you're going to get information that you do not have an explanation for. You didn't read that in books, which, if we're going to be fair, a lot of the history books, they're not 100% accurate anyway. So what are you basing your information on? When we go into all of these things, when we break down all of these things, like, I'm sorry, 7 degrees are not a sign of intelligence. What do you do with it? What did you do with it? That's the sign of intelligence. That's the real sign of intelligence. The sign of, for me, a sign of intelligence is not being able to read a book and then regurgitate what it said. It's not being able to, it's not being able to do a degree program and regurgitate what it is that you learned. No, it's taking what it is that you learn and how do you apply it? How do you apply it? If you have somebody like Kanye who has a voice that people will hear regardless of whether he's loud and wrong or if he's loud and right, that's a resource. You got somebody like, if you have somebody like Cory Booker who has the political experience, take someone else who is able to discern, who's able to understand, who has experience in diplomacy. You put those people together. They can do more as 3 people together like that than they could separately. That's what I'm talking about. That's the real vision. That's the real goal. Stop fighting with these other black people because they're saying things that you don't agree with, because at the end of the day, the point is still the same. And people, when we talk about this shit, it is disgusting. It is disgusting to me as a black woman in America. It is disgusting because black people can't sit together for 5 minutes and come up with, even Angela Rice said it in that interview, can't come up with 5 things that we agree on. 5 things, just five that we want, like, as a group, as a whole. Like, do you know how sad that is? Do you know, like, I don't think you understand how sad and disgusting that is, that as a whole race of people in one country, we could not, if with a gun to our heads, the entire black race would perish if we had a gun to our heads and we're told, oh, come up with 5 things that you want to work on together, that you want. We would all die. We would all die. And that's the sad part. If you can't collaborate, if you can't, what's the word I'm looking for? If you don't have enough compassion for your fellow man, if you can't collaborate on something, if you can't compromise on something with another person of color, set your ego to the side and say, this is what I have to offer to the table. This is what I have to offer. This is what I bring to the table. As black people, we cannot get picky and choosy at this point. We're at a place right now in the degeneration of this country, of this empire, that if we want anything for our future, for our offspring, we need to stand up now and say what it is that we want. And we can't do it separately. We're going to be silent as fuck. We need to stand together. Even with the people that we don't necessarily like because they say some shit that we don't agree with, they still have a valuable viewpoint. They still have a valuable skill. Because listen, at the end of the day, all these people are talking shit about Kanye, but none of them were in the White House with him. Did you send him an email? Did you call him? Did you? Like, did you speak to some of these people that you're saying, oh, they don't know. Like, oh, Kanye should just be quiet. Listen. Go in there with him. What was his game plan? You say he doesn't have a game plan, but you don't know. You weren't there. So what's up? Like, what we're not going to do, what we're not going to sit here and do is talk shit about people who are standing up and saying something. Even if we don't necessarily agree with the way that they're doing it, go have a conversation. Listen, Kanye does not seem to be neglecting help. Like, if somebody sends him an email and says oh, hey, I'd like to help you out with XYZ, I feel like we can make an impact together. He does not seem to be in that place where he's turning people down. Like, he seems to be in that place just going based off of what he's sharing, where he wants that. Come work with me. Let's work together as a team. But people are so caught up in, he doesn't know what he's talking about. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Yo, listen, you don't know what you're talking about either. That's the real gag. The real gag. Like, you don't know what you're talking about either, because if you did, the problem would be solved, right? Like, come on. Like, let's stop with this foolishness, because at the end of the day, if we're really gonna be real and raw with it, none of us know shit about what we're talking about half the time anyway. You speak on a subject that you learned about in a program, learned from a book that was written by, you don't even know the person who wrote it half the time, or where they've been, or what they saw, or what makes it so that they can be an authority on XYZ that you're learning, but you're still gonna take that program and say that you know, right? Listen, all it takes is that one person to not have correct information, and you sound like a fucking idiot with your degree. So, humble yourself. Remember how quick it is. Remember how quick it is. How very quick it is to go from sounding like you're intelligent to sounding like you're unintelligent. Not even based off of your opinion, but based off of the facts that you're bringing up. There are so many quote unquote facts that we have now that are, histories written by the victors. They're not fact. That's that's a perspective as to what could have happened or what could have gone on. But there are different historical artifacts or different historical takes that say something different happened. But how are you going to come at somebody? Like, that's the thing. We need to stop coming at each other. Stop it. It's not helping anything. It's not. Like, what do I gain from coming at somebody? I don't gain anything. At the end of the day, I make this video. It could be a 30-minute video. I'm not making money off of this video yet. But I'm not making money off of this video. Like, nobody sent me a check to make this video. But what I'm seeing, you would really think my face was dirty and I didn't just fucking exfoliate. Like, what the, I need to switch my products. Anyway, no, I think that's just my lotion. I don't fucking know. I don't know. At this point, it doesn't even fucking matter. But my point is, like, as people, as black people, please, from somebody who cares about you, please, stop sounding like a fucking idiot because you want to sound smarter than other people. Like, stop talking like you don't. Let's stop blaming each other. Let's quit with the divisiveness. This is unnecessary. This is so unnecessary because you sound stupid. Not only do you sound stupid, you sound like somebody that nobody wants to fucking work with. You sound like an elitist. You know what it sounds like when elitists get together and they try to create something? It sounds like a tower falling. You know why? Because it can't stand on anything, because nobody actually fucking knows what they're talking about. Nobody actually knows how to work together with people. You have these lofty ideas, you come together, you start talking about them, and they never get anywhere. There's no grounding in reality. It's all just in the intellectual sphere. We need to move away from that. Come together with real people. Listen, it doesn't matter if I speak like I have a college degree or if I speak like I've lived on the streets my whole life. At the end of the day, if I have valuable knowledge, it would behoove you to go to someone who has valuable knowledge or a valuable perspective or who has this thing that you do not have and work together with them to put you further towards the goals that you have. That's what white people do. And that's why they end up a lot further than us. That's what a lot of Spanish people do. And that's why they end up owning more than us. Keep that in mind. That's what Asians do, which is, again, why they end up owning a lot of so many more businesses than, even if you look at the fucking, I'm not even going to go into it. I'm not even going to go into it. Because the thing is, as black women especially, we are fighting our asses off to change the narrative. And I commend every single black woman who has ever sacrificed anything in her life to move towards this changing of the narrative. Now what we have is that the black woman is the most educated female in America. That's real life. That's real shit. That's real facts. But what are we going to do with it? What is an education unless you can apply it? And that's what we need to work on. Stop focusing on the loftiness of your education goals. Stop focusing on, what's in the mind. Start focusing on what can you do? Who can you work with to create the results that you want? It's learning how to collaborate, how to partnership. Do you hear me? Partnership. It's not that difficult. Collaboration is not that difficult. Put your ego to the side and it's not that difficult, because you have to remember you're not fighting the other person. There is a whole other common enemy. There is a whole enemy that is literally right now, as we speak, trying to take away your health rights, your voting rights, your reproductive rights, your family rights, the way that you make your money, the way that your children get educated, the food that you eat, the clothes on your back, where your car comes from, how much money is leaving your household. This is what these people are arguing about. And you're sitting here arguing back and forth as to whether or not black people are strong enough to be slaves, to leave slavery. Are you stupid? Because you're mentally enslaved too. Like, you're mentally enslaved too. If you got up, listen, if you get up every day for work and you hate your fucking job, but you go there for the money, you are mentally enslaved. I don't give a fuck. Because if, you know what? Here's the thing. There are so many ways to make money. If you wanted to not be mentally enslaved, you could make money a different way. Make money doing something that you actually like, because people have done it. People have broken out of it. So what's your excuse? And now you sound like, but now that's the thing. That's divisive. What was the point of that? At the end of the day, the point is, we're all in this position together. We're all in this boat together. No one of us with 1 degree or 2 degrees or 10 million in our bank account is any higher up than the other person just because of the way that we are, where our mentality is, where our mindset is. It doesn't matter how much money you have in your bank account. It doesn't matter. Is your mind right? It doesn't matter how many degrees you have. It doesn't matter how many books you've read. Is your mind right? Can you work together with other people towards a common goal? If you can't collaborate, if you can't work with other people, like, a lot of these, like, you can't do much. Like, what do you expect? You tell your kids, oh, you can't trust anybody, you can't trust anybody. Like, make sure always, you're always number one. You always want your kids to think, oh, you're number one. But at the end of the day, we need to start teaching our children how to listen to each other and how to collaborate. Because that's the thing. We don't know how to listen. We don't know how to love. Our kids don't know how to listen. We get mad at them for not knowing how to listen. They don't know how to pay attention to somebody that's talking because they're so focused on screens. The same thing that our parents gave us. Like, you see what I mean? Like, when we start breaking down this shit, like, if you really want to do it, we can break down the mirroring of every single aspect of black culture in today's day and age, between where we are now and, like, slavery, or where we were and where we are now. Like, it's just, there's so much mirroring between those two thought processes, those two generations, those two belief systems. Like, there's so much mirroring that we're at a point now where it's like, we got to take a step back and say, what are we doing? Like, what are we going to do? Like, something's not right. Something's not, no, this isn't going to work. Like, at a certain point, we have to take a stop. Like, we have to stop ourselves. And we have to really think about it and be like, all right, so you have this experience, or you have this reach. And this is what I feel like public figures who are working with the community need to get through their heads when it comes to black celebrities. That is another black person. You're not going to tell them to shut up about black issues. Because if somebody told you to shut up about black issues or question how black you were, or whether or not you should speak on that, you would throw a whole fit, wouldn't you? Let's not do that with black celebrities. Just because they have money does not mean that they're any less black. Because if they got shot by the police in front of their kids, you'd be screaming that they're black up and down the streets. So let's cut that shit. Cut that shit. Because that's not cute. That's not fucking cute. I really mean that. I really mean that. Cut that shit. Because that's not okay. Like, that's not cute. That's divisive as fuck. And you sound like these racists when you talk like that. That's what you sound like. But again, you were literally just saying that Kanye sounds like slave master rhetoric. So do you. So humble yourself. Humble yourself. When you're talking to when you see these black people with outreach, with an audience, with a voice, instead of saying maybe they're not the right person for the job, maybe they shouldn't speak. Listen, if we look at anything, look at a lot of black people are Christian. Look at the Bible. God, when he was picking people to do shit for him, he was not picking the perfect people. Like, he wasn't. Even Jesus had a temper. He didn't pick anybody perfect. He picked people who would be able to fulfill the role. God gives us what we can handle, even if we don't think we can handle it. So it's never your place to say that somebody else is not the right person for the job, because you don't know what positions God's put them in. Period. Period. You don't know. Like, you don't know. You don't know. If you were in that position, you would have said some fuck shit that would have ended up, because you would have said some fuck shit that would have ended up not going the way that you wanted. Because some people, we can be so, we don't always have the most diplomatic nature when it comes to situations regarding politics. Unfortunately, it's not a situation where, as a black person, you can go and step in and be loud as fuck and be, aggressive or be combative. Like, you cannot always be that in politics. Like, granted, I know you see that white people are doing that in some cases, but as a black person, you've also grown up with the same quote that I grew up with in my black household. You have to be 3 times better just to get half as far. Remember that. Remember that. So you can't go into any area or any space with all guns blazing, or go into, even when we talk about Kanye in the White House, like, okay, I don't want to hear anybody try to talk shit about Kanye for what he did, because as an egomaniac and a narcissist going to another egomaniac and narcissist and speaking in their language, I'm sorry, like, no, none of y'all would have done that. None of y'all would have done that. Y'all would have gone in trying to speak to fucking 5-year-old thinking Trump about politics and real policies, whereas Kanye was really the one speaking to him in the language that he can understand, because that's how Trump talks. Like, y'all are there talking about, oh, Kanye sounds like a 4th grader. Doesn't Trump? So you got somebody that's speaking the language to another person who speaks that. Like, come on. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, why are y'all coming at this man? Because he didn't say what you wanted him to say. He didn't go in there like George Bush hates black people Kanye, which is the version of him that you wanted him to be. Have some, learn diplomacy. Learn diplomacy. Like, you can't go into every space like that. And even still, considering that Trump is the person who, were we not hearing about his briefings when he first got into office, were 1 page with pictures and his name in every other sentence just so he could keep reading? How do you get a message like that and you think you could go in with diplomacy to a White House with a man like that running it? He's gonna be bored as fuck. Girl, go bring him some fucking animal crackers and apple juice. Like, fuck out of here. Like, go bring him some animal crackers, apple juice. Tell him he's really pretty. Bring in some fucking cameras because he's a reality star. It'll make him feel comfortable. And then you say some shit that he may or may not even hear. But people will look at Kanye and be like, oh, like, that nothing got done. Like, that was a disgrace to black people. But in reality, y'all don't know. Like, so what if Trump now has given Kanye his ear? So Kanye can go do some shit that he was not able to do before, because he curried favor to the right person. Y'all gotta be smart with this shit. Diplomacy is not just some going all guns blazing and demand what you want type shit. It's manipulation. Diplomacy is manipulation. You ever wondered, listen, if you want to know more about why diplomacy is manipulation, go start studying the speeches of Adolf Hitler, Mussolini, of Trump. Like, start really analyzing these speeches, these talks. It's all manipulation. You tell people what they want, you get in office, and then you do what you want. Like, that's what they do. That's what they do all the time. That is diplomacy. It's manipulation. It's, you get people on your side, say that you're going to do a certain thing, and then most diplomats, if they haven't already made agreements with, they make agreements behind the scenes with people, and then they agree to do certain things, and then they make speeches and say, oh, we're going to do XYZ, XYZ, XYZ. They don't do it. And then they fulfill their what they had to do behind the scenes. That's how diplomacy works. A lot of the time, that is how diplomacy works. So, listen, for the diplomats that don't do that, that's cute and all, but, like, a lot of the time, let's be real, let's call a spade a spade. A lot of the time, that's how it works. So you can't go into a situation like that, guns blazing, or you can't go into a situation like that with actual facts and think that that's going to make a difference. It's not. Like, know your audience. It's that simple. Know your audience. Like, how, like, you got to be more intelligent than that. Like, you have to be more intelligent than that. You can't think that just working the system. No, black people, here's your tip. You know how the system works. You know how the system works against black people. So, instead of bitching about it, instead of saying, oh, there's nothing we can do about this, instead of trying to work with the system, find the fucking loopholes. Find the loopholes. If you can study, listen, if you could study the ins and outs of anything, you could study the ins and outs of the judicial system. It's that simple. Like, listen, if you got friends, if you got cousins, you got neighbors, what have you, and like locked up, you know certain ins and outs of what you can and can't do. But you also, if you watch enough like CSI, or you watch enough court shows, you can start to find the loopholes in the law, the gaps in the law. There are gaps in the law. This is what the politicians use in order to get what they want. That's why a lot of them will never get arrested for the shit that they do, even though it's illegal as fuck. Because again, loopholes. Find the fucking loopholes. You take the system that was meant to destroy you and you make it your fucking bitch. That's what you do. I don't want to hear any excuses anymore. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of the excuses. I'm tired of the divisiveness. I'm tired of these people acting like they're smarter than, like, I'm tired of black people trying to make elitist statements or trying to be elitist against other black people. Because at the end of the day, your elitist ass will still be in the same ghetto as the non-elitist person. And that your degree is not going to mean shit. I'm sorry. If the empire breaks down, you're not going to, what's your degree going to do? I'm sorry, you double majored in African American studies. Like, what's that going to do in like across the world? Like, what's that going to do? Like, I mean, maybe you could be a teacher, but like, good luck. Like, you got to learn a whole other language and move to a whole other country just to use your fucking degree. Like, all right. But like, you're not in much better state than a lot of the people around you. A lot of the people around you are in the same boat as you. So humble yourself. That's all I have to say for today. I love you. This is a message out of love. I promise you, this is a message out of love. Like, this is not me just wanting to be argumentative as fuck and talk shit about black people, because listen, you can't see it because I'm not in frame with other people, but I am dark as fuck. I am a black woman in America. Granted, my descent, my family is from Jamaica, but like, I lived in America my whole life. I'm the first generation of my family that was born and raised in America. So trust and believe this shit means something to me. So when I say certain things about the way that black people look at each other, trust and believe I have an outside perspective and also an inside perspective. And we're doing each other a disservice. It's disgusting. We're coming at each other's necks for no fucking reason, and then wondering why shit never gets fixed and why we can't come together. Because you're so busy bullying each other. Like, you're so busy coming at each other's necks or cutting at each other. Like, you want to fight. Listen. Fight your inner demons. Fight the actual enemy. Don't fight me. Don't fight me, because I'm not your enemy. Don't fight me. It's like a partnership. If you're in a relationship with somebody and you have an outside issue outside of the relationship that you guys are trying to clear up, you do not go and fight your romantic partner because some shit that's going on outside of the relationship that's trying to come in. You don't go and fight your partner for that. That's how you end up making the outside shit win. You go with your partner and you create a game plan and you collaborate, and then you fight that outside force. That's how you win. When it comes to Jamaican families, we treat everything as an outside force. You can't, there's an impenetrable fortress. There's an impenetrable fortress. You cannot, unless you're a part of this family, you cannot step past this line. You can't get inside. The way that we look at it in my family is it's us against the world. So we got our backs together. We're praying together. We're moving together. We're going to make it happen. But what's outside cannot come in. What's outside trying to destroy us cannot come in unless we allow it. So who let it this time? Who let it happen? That's where we need to get to as black people. That is where we need to get to. Stop with this whole, oh, this person, that person, what they're doing. Da, da, da. No, it doesn't even fucking matter. It doesn't fucking matter. It does not matter anymore. It literally doesn't matter because you can argue about, oh, these small divisive statements. Honestly, we would be arguing for the rest of our fucking lives and never get anywhere. Let's stop arguing. Let's start working together. Let's start working together. So, here's what I'm doing. A couple of my friends and I, we're gonna start a non-for-profit in our city. We're working on that. If I have more information, well, when I have more information, I'm gonna try to start recording like our meetings and stuff like that. Cause like, I should probably tell my friend that I'm talking about that in my video, huh? But yeah, that's for the most part, that's all I have to say. Listen, as a black person, if you see some shit and you're just like, yo, you're fucking stupid. As another black person, take a deep breath, put your ego to the side, and think about what you can do or say to progress the situation, the conversation, the rhetoric forward, as opposed to keeping it in the same dead space. Let's move forward. I'm tired of seeing all these arguments with people on Twitter, and y'all are arguing about the same dumbass shit. But if I get in there, I'm gonna get my shit, I'm gonna get yelled at because y'all just wanna talk. Y'all just want somebody to fight. Y'all just want somebody to be mad at. Go be mad in your own draws. Listen, you want somebody to be mad at, go be mad at Trump. Now let's work together and find a game plan with some people that also don't like him. That's how you create change. And on that note, peace. I love you guys. Be safe. Be blessed. If you have any questions, concerns, or comments, bitch, I love comments. Fuck out of here. Every comment that you comment on one of my newer videos, I'm gonna love it. So, the fuck? Why wouldn't you? But anyway, I love you guys. Follow me on Twitter at Snugglehore. Is that still my Twitter? Yeah, SNUGGLEWHORE. It was a joke from high school, in case you were wondering why my name is that, but I can't change it now because that's my identity. Like, the fuck? But follow me on Twitter. Let's start a conversation because, like, this shit ain't right. And I'm not, you know what? Actually, let me get off this. This is 47 minutes and I don't want it to be an hour. Me just, like, no. But listen, all of this was out of love. All of this is out of love because we as black people are so far from the source that it's literally disgusting. And I can't watch this downfall without saying something. Because at the end of the day, me and my family, we gonna be good regardless. Because we're already on this time. We're already intuitively synced up. So if there's something wrong, we close ranks. We already know what's up. We already know what to do. We already know. But the rest of y'all don't know. So I'm trying to get y'all on the same page as my family so that we can actually start. Because the way that my family moves through problems, you'd be like, what problem? Bitch, we blessed as fuck. I'm trying to get all y'all on that same time. Listen. So when I tell you this is an act of love, this is not me just like screaming at people. Like, at the end of the day, I want us all to come together as a common, because we are technically a common family. Like, but there's going to be more information coming out that's going to start to break down like where it is that we all relate to each other. Like, there's more coming out in the future about people, about black people especially. So stay tuned on that, because when it comes out, you're going to start to see even more so why all this arguing, especially over slavery, is completely useless. Like, there's no point in it. There's absolutely no point. We're just arguing for no reason while other people are taking that energy that we took to argue and they're turning it into something. They're harnessing our energy to go and fuel what they want because we're arguing over dumb shit. But listen, if you want your energy harnessed and used for shit that you didn't mean it to be, like, fuck it. Like, that's you, I guess. But as for me and mine, we will be choosing a different path. On that note, I love you guys. I'll talk to you later. Bye.